वेलकम टू वीलर्न में आपका स्वागत है। We are discussing Management Control System, Session 11, New Development and Techniques of Management and Management Control. Topics covered are Total Quality Management, Business Process Reengineering, Enterprise Resource Planning, Value Added Analysis, Program and Performance Budgeting, Agency Theory Framework, Management by Objective, Activity-Based Costing. Total Quality Management or TQM. When we talk about TQM, it is a technique wherein it helps in increasing the customer satisfaction. And how it increase the customer satisfaction? By finding the factors that limit the performance. So the practice of TQM in a manufacturing environment, it has produced very tangible improvements in terms of efficiency and profitability as a result of many small improvements. So a TQM approach, it basically magnifies the need for customer oriented approach. Any activity, it should be customer oriented, and the management reporting, it also helps in eliminating some of the traditional reporting practices also. Now when we talk about TQM in terms of statistical process and control chart, yes, there are certain dangers. Quality is some not vague ideal which is associated with goodness. It can be seen as requiring that we conform to very specific performance requirement. So in a manufacturing environment, the cost of quality, it might be viewed as the sum of the costs which are associated with the scraps or the works or warranty and inspection expenses also. Now when we talk about the TQM, there are certain terms which are related to the quality aspect. The first term is referred to as quality policy. When we talk about quality policy, so the overall quality intentions and the directions of an organization with regard to quality, they are formally expressed by the management. Secondly, it is quality management. So that aspect of the overall management function which helps in determining and implementing the quality policy refers to the quality management. Then comes quality system. Now the organizational structure, the responsibilities, the procedure and the processes and the resources which are used for implementing quality management is referred to as the quality system. Quality control, when we talk about, so all the operational techniques and all the activities that are used to fulfill the requirements of the quality is quality control. Then comes quality assurance, and these includes those planned and systematic actions which are necessary to provide adequate confidence. Lastly, it's product and service quality. Now when we talk about a quality product or a service, it must have various attributes. It must be very systematic. It must be in conformity to the standards. It must have be zero defects when we are talking. And then cost saving is another factor. Another is customer satisfaction and the safety and reliability. Now when we talk about total quality management, it basically comprises of three activities. Three activities of maintenance of quality. When we talk about maintenance of the quality, it pertains to the standards of quality which is maintained at all level of production and manufacturing. When we talk about quality improvement, it is a state of action wherein from a current quality standard and it is moved upwards to higher quality standards. And when we talk about quality renewal, any obsolete quality is to be ignored and new qualities are to be taken into consideration. When we talk about total quality management approach, so the total quality, it may constitute of three parts, and the first part is the responsibility of the quality. When we talk about responsibility of quality, traditionally when we talk about quality is viewed as a problem arises on a factory floor, and workers and workmanship, they are responsible for any kind of quality problem. Now this traditional approach, it gave rise to quality control department, those who are responsible for inspecting the quality into the product. Now TQM, it's a modern approach, and the TQM approach, it basically specifies that everyone in the organization is responsible for the quality. Another is product design. When we talk of product design, there have been researches which have shown that many of the quality problems, they are due to the design of the product. There are certain problems which are encountered at the stage, and these are manufacturability of the product. The second is the inclusion of parts which are of unique nature to the products. The third is include more separate parts than are necessary, and which could result in more setup time than other products, which results in increasing the cost. So these are all inadequacies in the designs which result in problems at the manufacturing end. The third is relationship with the suppliers. Earlier, what used to happen, companies, they prefer to have host of suppliers of raw materials or the components. But now with the improvement in logistics or SCM, the companies, they should reduce the number of suppliers so that the uniformity in the final product, it remains. Managing a large pool of suppliers, it becomes a very complicated job. And the process, the first casualty is the quality. When we talk about business process re-engineering, the fundamental, as the definition saying, the fundamental rethinking and radical redesign of business processes to achieve dramatic improvement in critical contemporary measures of performance such as cost, quality, service and control is referred to as business re-engineering. Now what happens? The concept of re-engineering, it has been existing for quite a few decades now, but when we understand re-engineering, it is often compared to TQM. We must understand that the concept of teamwork or work participation and empowerment, cross-functionality, process analysis and benchmarking, they are significant contribution for quality management. Now, when we talk about business process re-engineering, there are certain changes the operation in dramatic way. Now, there are certain list of the operation like customer orientation. Another is process orientation. Then comes focus on the core business. Again is the rule book and devotion for simplicity. When we talk about principle of re-engineering, री-इंजीनियरिंग जो बेसिक मतलब है उसका वो होता है टू ब्रिंग अबाउट अ मेजर चेंज इन रिस्पेक्ट ऑफ इम्प्रूवमेंट्स in various processes and at various stages in the processes so that the customer requirements of quality and which have become so very contemporary nature nowadays, and the customizations, they are easily met. Now when we talk about, there are several principles or rules for re-engineering. The first rule of re-engineering is organize around outcomes and not the task. So there are certain specialized tasks which were earlier performed by different peoples. They should be combined into one job. This would be performed by an individual or by a team. Now the new job which is created, it should involve all the steps that creates a well-defined outcome. The second is, have those who use the output of the process perform the process. So the work is to be carried out where it makes the most sense to do it. This results in people closest to the process actually performing the work, which shifts the work across traditional intra and inter-organizational boundaries. The third is merge information. Now processing works into the real work that produces the information, which means that people who collect the information, they should be responsible for processing it, because it minimizes the need for another group to reconcile and process that information. The fourth is, treat geographically dispersed resources as though they were centralized. Now what is happening? Information technology makes the concept of hybrid centralization or decentralization operation in reality. So it facilitates the parallel processing of work by a separate organizational unit that perform the same job while improving the company's overall control. Another is, link parallel activities instead of integrating the result. This means that the concept of integrating only the outcome of parallel activity that must be eventually come together is the primary cause of rework or high cost. Another is, put the decision point where the work is performed and build control into process. Decision making, when we say, it should be made part of the work which is performed, and this could only be possible with a more educated and knowledge workforce in combination with a decision aiding technology. Lastly is the capture information once at the source. Now information, it should be collected and captured in the company's online information system only at once, that means at the source where it is created. When we talk about ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning, it is the latest high-end solution wherein information technology has lent to business application. ERP solution, basically it seeks to streamline and integrate operation processes and information flows in the company in order to synergize the resources of an organization. Which are resources of an organization? We talk about men, material, money and machine through the information. Now initially it was only infrastructure companies that opted for ERP because it is a high cost product. But nowadays there are many companies even in India who have gone in for implementation of ERP. Now when we talk about meaning of ERP, ERP or Enterprise Resource Planning software, it attempts to integrate all the departments and functions across a company into a single computer system that can serve all the different departments' particular need. Now there are certain features of Enterprise Resource Planning. First feature is, it performs the core activities and it increases the customer services. Thereby it helps an organization to improve its corporate image. Since an ERP is integrated and into the organization, it helps in bridging the information gap. The source of the information, the reconciliation of the information, they are done at the same level. ERP also provides complete integration of system, not only across department but across companies under the same management. So not only one company and interdepartmental information integration happens in ERP, but companies under the same umbrella management, they are also covered under ERP. When we talk about ERP is the solution for better project management. Now there are certain benefits of ERP that we can talk. In an industry which is very sensitive to dynamic market forces or the cost fluctuation, even the manufacturing responsiveness, there are many benefits which are gained from investing in a system like ERP. ERP applications nowadays, they have shifted from assisting after the fact monitoring to real-time analysis. The benefits which are accruing from the ERP package, first is the product costing when we talk about. So determination of cost of products correctly, it is a very critical in every industry. So all the costing methods and information, they can be fully integrated with finance. Another is inventory management. When we talk about inventory management, ERP can be used in multinational or multi-company or multi-site manufacturing environment. So this system helps in simplifying complicated logistics by applying one to plan and manage companies in different countries as a single unit. Another is distribution and delivery. When we talk about delivery and distribution in ERP, it defines the logistic process and it is flexible, efficient to deliver the right product from the right warehouse to the right customer at the right time. So it ensures that. Now we talk about reasons for implementing ERP by companies. The first reason it helps in improving the company's business performance. So ERP, it automates the tasks which are involved in performing a business process. This automation, it helps to a great extent improving the business processes. So with an ERP process, when a customer service representative takes an order from a customer, he or she has all the information necessarily to complete the order. Right? Another is standardized manufacturing process. There are manufacturing companies which often find that multiple business units across the company makes the same type of reports using different methods and the computer system. Standardizing those processes and using a single computer system can save a lot of time and hence increase their productivity. Another is integrating financial data. Now what happened? ERP creates a single version of the entire financial data. So finance, they have its own set of revenue numbers, or sales has another version. So they create a single version of each unit. It helps in integrating the financial data. Another is to standardize HR information. It happens in those companies with multiple business units. So HR may not have a unified or a simple method for tracking employee time and communicating with them about the benefits and services. So ERP is a solution that fixes all these kind of problems. When we talk about value-added services, now there are activities which are classified as value-added and non-value-added, or efficient and as an inefficient. Now a customer's perspective in classifying activity is very, very essential to be considered. When we discuss the Porter strategy, there are three categories we must understand. First is the cost leadership, another is the differentiation, and last is focusing. To follow any of the strategies, one has to evaluate a value chain. Value chain किसी भी firm के लिए is in any business is the linked set of values which create activities to produce a product, and it spans from basic raw material sources for component suppliers to the ultimate end product delivered. Now there are activities that can be divided into primary and support activities. When we talk about primary activities, these are those activities which are required for the manufacturing or for the sales, transfer of the product to the customers, and even the after sales services. And when we talk about support activities, they are those activities which are required for efficient and timely performance of the primary activities that we have just discussed, and they also include activities like procurement or technology and human resource. Now there are 5 standard types of primary activities. पहली है inbound logistics, second is manufacturing, which includes physical transformation. Another is outbound logistic, which refers to collecting or storing of the final products. Fourth is marketing and sales relating activities, and the fifth is after sales services. Now there are process of value analysis. Value analysis is particularly directed at reducing the cost in products and materials while maintaining or even improving the product or process functions. Value analysis, it proceeds through 7 stages. जो पहला स्टेज है वो इंट्रोडक्शन का होता है, wherein the objectives are specified, the processes are identified relating to the product. The second is collecting information. When we say collecting information, it is related to the usage, cost or demand of the product. The third is collective analysis and brainstorming. It refers to generating of multiple ideas and suggestions. Then comes evaluation of ideas and suggestions which are generated in the previous step and selecting the most promising one. Now when we talk about activity analysis also, it is a very discrete task and it is basically undertaken to make the delivery of a product or service. Now it is a systematic way for organization to think about the processes. There are basically 4 steps. First is identify what is the process objective. Then the charting of the existing process is done. After that, all the activities are classified, and lastly there is a continuous improving all the activities and plans in order to eliminate the non-value added activities. When we talk about program and performance budgeting, so there are conventional system of budgeting which they involve a target fixation which is from the top to the next level or to the middle management to the grassroots level. Now this system basically was gradually replaced by the following system. It was zero-based budgeting, wherein huge cost was involved and hence it was unsuitable for middle to small businesses. Then comes the identification of decision units that used to create numerous problems for the organization. The zero-based budgeting system, it required expertise and it used to have continuous training by the executive. Therefore it became very time consuming and the results were delivered taking into consideration a lot of time. Lastly, the annual or the periodical reviews of the program, they became only a ritual with the passage of time and hence it became very ineffective. Now when we talk about agency theory framework, so it basically explains how best organized relationship in which one party determines the work with another party which undertakes the work. So this theory basically argues under the conditions of incomplete information and uncertainty which characterize most of the business settings. So 2 agency problem arises. First is adverse selection and another is moral hazard. When we talk about adverse selection, it is a kind of a condition under which the principal is the party which cannot ascertain if the agent accurately represent his ability to do the work. The moral hazard is a condition under which the principal cannot be assured if the agent has put forth any maximum efforts. Now comes control mechanism. Control mechanism, basically there are two ways of dealing with control mechanism. It is a twin problem. First is of monitoring, and when we say monitoring, it is the first control device. Here the principle, it is a design control system which helps in defining the scope, even the authority and autonomy of an agent. Another is incentive contracting, we say. It is a divergent preference of the principal and agent that can be minimized by identifying those performance measures. So the more the agent's compensation is based on performance measure, the more is the incentive for agent to improve the performance measure. Another is a term which states management by objective. Management by objective is an approach which is capable of offering a framework for dealing with many of the issues of organizational effectiveness. Now managers, they are basically faced with dilemmas in the quest for performance improvement capabilities and adaptation to the changing environment. So both the success and failure, they throw up new problems, the seeds of which they are often found in the solution to the old problems. An organization and environmental condition, they become more complex, and manager discovered that the popular and tested methods of long back years, they are inadequate to the problems of tomorrow. When we talk about management by objective, it is a very comprehensive approach which focuses on objectives or even the expected results, and it provides a framework for organizational and managerial decisions. MBO, it should be considered as a top management planning and control approach. There are opportunities for participation in the process. MBO, it also have a lot of implication for all the aspects of management. MBO, it lays a lot of stress on result orientation innovation or development of human resource or development of effective system. It also takes care of utilization and development of all the resource. Now, very importantly, if an organization it has experienced success in the practice of MBO, it becomes a way of their life. So MBO is just an application of good management. Now when we talk the process of implementation of MBO, it continues in the following phases. The first is the top manager and the key executives reporting to him. They study all the systems and processes. The second, the top and the subordinates, they set up their own measures of organization's performance. The third is the goal setting methods. They are even extended to the first line supervisory. So the goals are even discussed through meetings between the members of organizational units. And lastly, the required changes, they are undertaken in the appraisal systems and reward compensation system. Another is activity-based costing. Activity-based costing is basically an accounting method which is assigned to the cost, both the overhead and the direct cost. There are certain factors which are responsible for development of activity-based costing. The first is the mounting overhead cost due to increasingly automated production processes. Second है क्योंकि बहुत intense competition हो जाता है which is requiring the product cost to be ascertained more accurately. तीसरा है because there is an increasing product diversity so that economies of scale could be achieved. There is an increasing view for the market share. Now, activity based costing, they are taking care of activities like cost objects, or they are cost object when we say it is an item for which the cost is to be measured, or cost driver is another term which is referring to a factor that causes a change in the cost of activity. Another is resource cost drivers. So it is a measure of the quality of resource consumed by an activity. And last is an activity cost driver. It is a kind of a measure of the frequency and intensity of demand which is placed on activity by the cost objectives. Now there are certain number of practical stages in implementation. So the first stage is the staff training, then is the process specification, then comes activity definition, fourth is the stage of activity driver selection, and last is the stage of costing. There are two exercises that needs to be done. Identify the attributes of a quality product and identify the main constituents of TQM approach. Thank you and have a nice day. Keep learning and relearning.